Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm 23 and currently unemployed due to coronavirus, but I'm excited for Good Friday because of the hope that it gives me. I grew up going to church with my family. When I was young, I got diagnosed with ADHD, so it made the experience of sitting in church quite dull, and you would often find me anywhere else, climbing outside on trees and finding creative ways to hurt myself. But as the years went on, I began to mature a little bit, an emphasis there on a little bit. I began to become aware, I guess, of a duality in my personality in which there was Ryan with his friends and there was Ryan at church. Ryan with his friends was a bit of a troublemaker, and I even got my own self-allocated award of most attentions in my cohort multiple years in a row. And then there was Ryan at church, which Ryan at church was still loud and energetic, but I knew how to pander to my audience and knew how to be a good kid. I came to a point where I had to decide which Ryan was the real Ryan out of the two. And it didn't take too much thinking to realize that, Ryan with my friends was the real Ryan. Ryan at school was a bit of an angry teen, and I learned to master the ways of the world, as you will, drinking and doing drugs and entering into a whirlwind of relationships. I went around in circles trying to, satisfy myself with everything I could from maybe the age of 17 to 23. And it's going to sound kind of strange, but this whole time I do kind of think that there was something, in the back of my head at least, that would fill me up in the way that I was so desperately looking for. That thing was connecting with my Lord and my God, who, to be honest, was always there holding me through this period, but I was just doing everything I could to keep him at arm's length. I knew I was doing bad things, but because of my Christian upbringing, I think I counted myself exempt from judgment. I did drugs and I slept around, but at the heart of it, I was always a good kid with a big heart for people, right? Surely God would understand that. I was a good person. Then Mum invited me to church one day, and she'd been doing this plenty of times before, believe me, but this time, for whatever reason, I went. And I quietly enjoyed it, although I made sure not to let on to her too much that I enjoyed it, in case she said I told you so. But I kept coming, and each week I became, more convinced of how illogical the mental gymnastics that I'd been putting myself through to convince myself that I could run my own life and also take the good things out of the Bible when it benefited me, but leave God out of the picture. And after a few solid weeks of feeling like every sermon I heard was directed at me, I came home and finally the realization had hit me that in my attempt to be a good person, I'd got no closer to being right with God. The way to live life to the full, was to accept that an all-loving God wanted me to live life to the full. And more than that, he wanted to have a relationship with me so much that he sent his son, Jesus, to die for me so that he could fill that hole that I was very unsuccessfully trying to fill myself. In tears later that night, I asked him to be the Lord of my life because clearly I wasn't doing a very good job at it. And I'm not going to lie to you and say that everything from there on out was all rosy, because it definitely wasn't. But in a deep sense, I had a peace. I still sin and I still don't do the right thing all the time, but he set me free from patterns of old behavior that in my own strength I was trying to break for years. And in contrast to all my past efforts, this time I'd done nothing except put my faith and my trust in Jesus who died for me. I'd encourage you to explore why we as Christians even celebrate Easter. It's the death of our God on a cross. It seems pretty backwards to celebrate it, don't you think? But this is my sure hope, that Jesus has died for my sins, and this means that I'm right with God.